Hello, this is Perry Mink. It is Thursday, October 1st, 2020, about 4:15 in the afternoon. So this is For the People video, and for those of you who are watching for the first time, this is where I give updates and current developments as to what is still happening to me based on how the government, the supremest terrorist regime, continues to terrorize me because I filed a civil case in 2008, Mink versus Encina Veterinary Clinic Incorporated et al., and I was within statute of limitations. That happened in 2006, and what I discovered as I was in the lawsuit was that the system wasn't working. But as most of us who are Americans, you simply follow the law and you keep protecting yourself. You keep working at protecting your rights, your livelihood, your property. So through the years, over 14 years, I learned that the government is run by Catholics and their recruits. And they continue to bombard me on a regular basis, on a daily basis, tracking me and hunting me wherever I go. And so they interfere with all my transactions, either keeping me from receiving something or taking the money and I don't get the services, just cheating, diabolics, greed, corruption that they are perpetrating. And it is so clandestine, so secretive, and so dirty because I learned that they are using what I call sex slander scams, and that's what they are using to get rid of the people that they don't like. And so they will have neighbors and people come around you to start terrorizing you in very sexually deviant ways, violating your rights, whether it's your actual physical body or just your space around you or when you are out in public. Alright, so I still don't have gas for hot water in the stovetop. I still can't get this phone to function properly, and the interaction with this new carrier is frustrating. And I did let them know yesterday that the government has hacked in and is causing problems for me. And the way that they're responding is either they're being instructed on what to say to me, and so I can never get services. So right now I'm trying to find out if they can go through the actual phone company that does the actual service from the satellites, and see if they can fix the actual service that I'm supposed to get. But the carrier, this Affinity Cellular, is simply a third party, I guess, and then they use the different larger companies that actually provide the airtime that you are signing up for. All right, so I still don't have the proper billing for PG&E. I'm suffering every day waiting for justice. That's all right. All right, so Winnie, I never got a response back from Tony LaRussa's Animal Rescue Foundation, the Emergency Medical Fund, so I can't get the help I need there. I tried to reach out to another low-cost veterinary clinic outside of the county, and I never got a response back from them either. All right, so the homework assignment came up like impromptu yesterday when I brought up the case about the Tongan royals, the prince and princess of Tonga, and that they were killed on July 5th, 2006, over on the other side of the San Francisco Bay Area, on the west side in the San Mateo County area. And so I did post a little bit of this on Facebook, but I didn't go into more details of what I found out in the research that I did prior to just making this. So this morning or this afternoon. All right, so here's the basic information about this particular case. All right, so it involves the Tongan royals, and I'm not sure how to pronounce their names, but Prince Tuipilake. I'm apologize for not being able to pronounce the name, and the princess, and they had arrived in the area on Tuesday, July 4th, 2006. And the prince was scheduled to speak at the First Tongan United Methodist Church of San Bruno on Thursday, July 6th, 2006. Now, I found out that there's a large Tongan community in the San Mateo area, and they are from the Methodist Church. And they also have a First Tongan United Methodist Church in Palo Alto, which is just south of that in South Bay. So the Tongan couple, he was, I believe, in his 50s, and she was in her 40s. And they were driving on the freeway, and the way that it's just the basic information is that they were the driver and the couple, the royal couple, were like in this auto accident, which had nothing. It wasn't them that had any cause in it. They weren't any part of the mitigating factors, but it was this supposed 2-car high-speed race, like some type of a let's see if I wrote down what kind of word that they used. It was some type of a high-speed car racing between two vehicles, and the woman was a 18-year-old named Edith Delgado, and she was the one that was the person driving this Mustang that ran into this vehicle that was driving the Tongan couple, the Tongan royal couple. All right, so once you start to read the news articles, and again, I'm going to explain that it's better that I do not include links in the description box to these news articles, just for the fact that the supremest terrorist regime have removed the links, either from my part articles or, even when I try to post on Facebook, sometimes I can't even post that they have hacked in and sabotaged my efforts to speak for the people. All right, so what I did was I wanted to find out again what had caused me to remember this case as a cover up to something much more sinister and diabolical that was actually premeditated by the Catholics and their recruits in our legal system. And the main thing that I recalled when I had posted this on Facebook was that the information in the media again did not add up. It did not make actual sense. It did not equal the cause and effect that we would recognize for civil society. That it reflected that there was some other diabolical, sinister, clandestine acts that were actually perpetrated on purpose at this royal couple. All right, so I found some very triggering information from the news media articles that makes it very, very clear why before I had thought I need to post this on Facebook. As an example, as Cruel Catholic M.O. and their Catholics and their recruits perpetrating this very horrific, evil, sinister, vile act against unsuspecting people who come to this area. It is a trap. It is a total trap. All right. So in the news, the couple, the royal couple, were here to talk about, and this was going to be at the First Tongan United Methodist Church in San Bruno, the prince was going to talk about improvements for the Tongans and, the political system. So they were going to talk about issues that were related directly to the Tongans here in the San Francisco Bay Area, in that location, and in the San Francisco Bay Area, and the political system. So unbeknownst to us, we did not know that our government offices, our legal system, our representative offices at that point were already taken over by Catholics, that a coup had already occurred, but we didn't know. The general population did not know. All right, so this was very clear but shocking. So in the newspaper, the statement was, "So vexing are the problems regarding the Tongans, they're the Tongan Americans in that area, that police from Burlingame and San Bruno recently traveled to Tonga in order to better understand the culture." Okay, this is so sickening. This is exactly what I'm talking about. They knew themselves that they were causing the hardships on the Tongan Americans here, that they were actually the ones that were antagonizing them to act out in ways that the Tongans could not understand. Now, I looked up what is the dynamics of San Mateo County. There are a lot of Catholics in San Mateo County. There are many churches and schools in San Mateo County. All right, so it was very clear by this statement that these law enforcement people were being directed by higher ups because the community is run by the district attorney's office. And so the district attorney would be the one saying, this is the problem going on. Our police officers are having to deal with it. Hey, well, in Catholic mode, why don't you take a trip paid by taxpayers? You'll have a really good time going to Tonga. You're going to enjoy the scenery. You're going to go out to nice restaurants out there. Have a ball. It's going to be nice. Enjoy it. This is fun. Okay, that's the core behind it. Their system, their behavioral system, their core to what they are actually doing. All right, so obviously from the statement, they were setting them up. So based on them going to Tonga, which was a government agency, a United States government agency, a California government agency, spent taxpayers' money to go to Tonga to talk about these so vexing problems that these Tongan Americans are just doing here. This is so, they're causing all the problems. So we need to spend taxpayers' money and go on a trip, okay? So they triggered it. They set it up. They set up the Tongan royal family to come here under those premises, knowing that they were lying. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the, before I go into more detail backing this Cruel Catholic M.O., I'm going to speak about this Edith Delgado, who was driving this Mustang, and she's the one that ran into this SUV that had the Tongan couple, the royal family in there. So as I said before, she's 18 years old. She's from Redwood City, which is just south of San Mateo County. And I don't know if Redwood City is in San Mateo County or Palo Alto area. I would have to check that, but it's south of San Mateo, the city of San Mateo. She was driving a 1988 white Mustang, and the news report, and again, they get their information from law enforcement, which they are controlled by the district attorney. It said that allegedly racing another car at speeds of up to 100 miles per hour, quote unquote. And again, do the homework because, excuse me, do the homework because if I post these articles, they're going to be removed. Then they can say to me, oh, look, she's plagiarizing. No, I'm not. You are infringing on my rights. You are sabotaging my rights. You are scaring the daylights out of me. You are terrorizing me, supremest terrorist regime, from me being able to speak for the people in a proper and legal manner. Okay, I'm not plagiarizing. I'm quoting it. And it comes from news articles that I found online. And I'm sure if people went to a microfiche and they brought it up, they would be able to find it there too. The news article also states that she was not injured. That was another indication that this was something that was premeditated. These people know how to drive. They go use these government vehicles and they go out into some secluded area and they start doing all these spins and jumps with the cars and all kinds of stuff. And then they teach their family members. All right, so So I wanted to also mention that the police said in the news again, this is from a statement by the California Highway Patrol, and the news said that, quote unquote, police are still searching for a black Cadillac Escalade with spinner style rims, okay? And they were also saying that they were still looking for this vehicle. Okay, well, that's lies. This is all lies. Okay, now why doesn't the media question it? They know who this person would be. They know who this other vehicle would be. And that was a statement by CHP Patrol Officer Ricky Franklin. Okay, so now I'm going to go to this case against Edith Delgado. Remember, she was 18 years old. And what was so disturbing, because when I was just simply reading basic information before, just, scanning it, and then I posted it on Facebook, this person was not sentenced according to our sentencing guidelines in the sense that would be equal with the crime that was committed. So Delgado's original sentencing was 2 years in county jail. Okay, this is absurd. There was obviously a Cruel Catholic M.O. premeditated decision here. This was all known ahead of time. Okay, so at the time of this particular sentencing that I found on this news article, she had already served 11 months. And so with good behavior, that would mean 7 months, and it could really mean that she would be out in 5 months. We're talking 3 dead people where they're claiming that this was 2 vehicles racing on the freeway, and then she's the one that caused it, and then they just let her, basically off of this. It was something that they were going to use as a way to make it look like, well, you're going to be out in a while, so just go through this. I'm talking about them talking behind closed doors, the backroom dealing. You're young, you'll be out. Okay? That wouldn't be, if this was a legitimate case, that's not what would have happened. All right, so I looked into, well, why would the judge go along with this? Well, he was probably already either forced to conform and convert to this Cruel Catholic M.O. government, or this person is Catholic. So I did some research, and the judge on the case was Judge John Rund. And Judge John Rund is a Presbyterian. Well, that was something that I thought, well, this is interesting, but why would he go along with this? And there was a article about his judicial profile available online, and the quote from him is, and this was regarding a case it was 2000 something. It was after this case with the Tongan royals. And he said, everybody was happy, Rund says, and I was flattered that the bishop called me a pious man. All right, well, that's illegal. You don't, you don't, as a judge, you are not to be in a in a situation where you are siding with litigants. This was regarding litigants in this case. It was some elderly nuns against this Orthodox church. And there should be no flattered at all. Okay, so that tells you right there that he was already converted and he was practicing illegally. That he was not staying neutral at all. All right, so then I decided to find out who were these people that they were listing as the representing the district attorney. So the San Mateo district attorney that was speaking for this case with Delgado, and his name is Chief Deputy District Attorney Steve Wagstaff. And from what I could find out, he grew up in Menlo Park, which is in San Mateo County, and he went to the University of Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana, and that's a Catholic university. And he basically was just practicing this Catholic supremest terrorist regime. So at that time, in 2006, he was working for the top DA was Jim Fox. So I looked into who is Jim Fox. He's an Irish Catholic, and he's from Half Moon Bay, which is on the coast here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Half Moon Bay is where they hold the annual Pumpkin Festival. And if I remember at the end of this video, I'll mention about that again. So Jim Fox retired from his district attorney position, his top district attorney position in, I want to say 2010, I didn't write it down, and then this chief deputy district attorney Steve Wagstaff took his place. So you have one Catholic that just took over another Catholic. This is illegal. This is absolutely illegal. So I wanted to look into what and who is this Jim Fox. So apparently he is just for the Pope. He's for the Catholic Church. He was very devoted, if you will, to attending the church services as well throughout his life. That was his main purpose in life, to be a Catholic. So, quote unquote, from the news article, this is from the when he was retiring. He says, in his younger days, James Fox through his, I guess his name was James, but he was going by Jim, as that's another name for James. He threw rocks through the windows of an attorney's office on some street in Half Moon Bay. And he says he isn't sure why he did it. Perhaps just to see what would happen next. Quote, that's what he said. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is a very wicked, sinister game that they play, like a movie that is playing out. I talked about that in my previous For the People video about CHP Youngstrom, where they're playing out this fantasy movie, and they want to see how far can we go with this, and what will happen? What will we see happen? Let's see how far we could go. Let's see how much we can get away with. Let's see how we could keep doing this. Let's keep it secret. Don't tell anybody. Hey, they'll never be able to figure it out. Okay, so at that time, he had to pay to replace the windows. And how did he do that? he helped his brother with his newspaper route. All right, so then this judicial profile talks about his life and how he became the district attorney, and in the beginning, and he says, it looked like it would be fun to be a lawyer or maybe an FBI agent, he said. Okay, that's Cruel Catholic M.O. They teach it in their schools. Fun to be a lawyer. Fun. No, it's not. So that's right there is illegal. They're practicing from the church. This is not our laws. This is their laws. All right, so I looked into, or actually in the article it said he attended, one article said that he attended Sarah High School, and I said, wait a minute. I looked it up online. There was a Sarah High School popped up from San Diego, but what popped up for his area was Junipero Sarah High School. And I said, wait a minute, something's off with that article. So that's what prompted me to look for another article. And he attended Catholic Junipero Sarah High School, and that is a Catholic school. And this information was just something I happened to come across, is that the University of San Francisco, he also, let's see, the University of San Francisco has acquired a San Francisco College for Women that was run by the Catholic Society of Sacred Heart Order. So the University of San Francisco is actually taken over by Catholics. And that probably happened over, decades of them overthrowing the university. All right, so the article also quoted him as saying things about, I didn't write down his specific quote, but it indicated that he couldn't convince a juror when he got a job after he passed the bar exam. He was hired by the San Mateo district attorney, and so he was never a private attorney. That's what I'm gathering from the article, which again reflects what Judge Barbara Zuniga, the Mexican Catholic, did. She was never a private attorney. She got a job in government, and then she just kept getting to move up the ladder, and then she became a judge. She was appointed as a judge by a Catholic, and that was Governor Gray Davis. I just wrote down I wrote down that he was a total failure as a new DA deputy after he passed the bar exam and was hired by the San Mateo district attorney. So this is something that they had already been teaching them, the Catholic Church, Vatican, through the schools, because the schools are run by the orders. And so these orders are being instructed by the dioceses through the Vatican, and then they are telling them to get the jobs in the United States government, and then they're supposed to overthrow the government. It's a coup. It's a coup. They know that they're doing it. It's illegal. All right, so that's who was running the San Mateo district attorney. And so you could tell that he was a district attorney for San Mateo for a long, long time, decades, and then it was taken over again by Catholic. And so they do not like Tongans, okay? They don't like them. They already said, so vexing are the problems that these Tongans are causing here, okay? That's coming from the district attorney, who controls the police, who are also controlled by the council, by the city council members. All right, so This case again, is very disturbing, and it shows again that they knew that they were doing this. That you can see the discrimination. That if you look at my part 2 article, where I list the cases towards the end, where in my county, in Contra Costa County, which is in the East Bay, in the San Francisco Bay Area, that Guo, the woman that was driving her vehicle and then somehow she accidentally hit a bicyclist and then he died, and they claimed, the police or the whoever was there, whoever is all premeditated, claimed that she was a criminal. And she wasn't a criminal. It was an accident. And she was processed as a criminal. So then you see my case, and I was a litigant. I was there for a civil case, a slam dunk, ironclad civil case with a right to sue letter from the California Veterinary Medical Board, and they processed me like a criminal. And they keep terrorizing me. Little did I know that they had already targeted me when I bought my condominium in Pleasant Hill, California, which is the next city over, in 1995. And the property manager was Sue Angeli, an Italian, and she was also the mayor of Pleasant Hill, and she was also working for BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit. That's our, if you will, subway system, commuting system here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And Sue Angeli was a scout, and she was already terrorizing us at the condominium complex. And the people at that condominium complex had expressed to me and another neighbor who had invited me to find out what was going on. And so we went together door by door, and sure enough, they were just livid with Sue Angeli and how Sue Angeli kept denying them their rights, denying even being able to make a proper complaint, denying them that things needed to be fixed when the complaint came in. This was their standard method of operation. They knew that they were doing it. They knew it's illegal. They were doing it behind our backs, and they were killing us off. Sue Angeli scouted out my mother through law enforcement, and they killed her in just like 3 years through her medical office. All right, so that was one thing I wanted to mention about this royal Tongan family, is that the father was ailing. He had heart problems, and he was going to Stanford Medical Center here to find out or get some kind of assistance through there. So they were known here in the community. They were watching them. They were scoping them out. They were hunting them. They knew when they would come into the airport. This was not a family that was going under the wire. This was a family that they knew all about, and they were going to attack them and the Tongan people on a regular, systematic basis. Slow, methodical death sentence. How many Tongans can us Catholics put away? Oh, another one bites the dust. And that's what they do all day long. That's how they're spending taxpayers' money. And so I'm at the end of the video, and I mentioned about this pumpkin festival in Half Moon Bay. And so some of you may know that on my Facebook I was posting evidence about my life, and that I was mugged on like a weekend morning, Saturday morning I believe it was, like 8 o'clock. It was beautiful, clear skies, And I was walking out to my car. This is when I was at the art studio. I moved from Castro Valley and I wanted to be in an art studio. And then I went back to college at the same time. And I was mugged by two black people. And I was going out to my car to pick up a college friend, a young Chinese friend, and we were going to the Pumpkin Festival in Half Moon Bay. And so I posted on my Facebook the police report about this incident, and on my driver's license was a protective measure long term that I was supposed to be protected by the government because they knew that I am very easy to be scoped out, that somebody would scout me out because I'm like the tourist type. And instead of the women at the Contra Costa County Superior Court protecting me, they terrorized me, ramped up, and launched their network terrorism and went after my friends, my family, my coworkers, all these people, and just started terrorizing them and setting them up, scaring them. And in my last video, I talk about how the law enforcement will flash their badge. These are supposed to be trustworthy people, but instead they're a supremacist terrorist regime. They don't have a marking on their shoulder that says and identifies their supremacist terrorist regime. It's not there. It is secret, clandestine, and I broke the code. All right, so that's the homework assignment for today, and it is it's almost 5 o'clock on Thursday, October 1st, 2020. Continue with the homework. This is very important that Catholics and their recruits cannot run our government. I am to have justice in the instant. And these people are supposed to be shut down immediately. And there is to be a public announcement so that we know what this is, so that we can protect ourselves, and that we have rights to live, to our livelihood, to thrive, to receive services, and to have justice and peace of mind. I was born in California. I was raised in the Monterey area, and we have rights. Millions of Californians are being terrorized through government offices because of the Catholics and their recruits. All right, thank you for watching. Pray Puggy, and thank you to the highly intelligent enforcer Puggy allies, and for anybody who is in government putting themselves on the line to create justice for us now. All right, thank you. Signing off.